Welcome to College Smart Radio, helping you understand the true cost of college and tackle the runaway costs of financing a college education. College Smart Radio is hosted by Beatrice Schultz, a certified financial planner and founder of West Face College Planning. Now, here's your host for College Smart Radio, Beatrice Schultz.
Welcome to College Smart Radio. Many colleges encourage students to study abroad as part of their college education. Studying abroad can be a beneficial part of a well-rounded undergraduate education. Many believe it's important for American students to learn other languages, experience foreign cultures, and develop a broad understanding of global issues. So how do you find the right study abroad experience for you? Do you need a plan before you even apply to college? My guest on today's College Smart Radio program is a senior at Texas A&M. She spent 5 months in Florence, Italy last year, and she's here with us today to share her practical advice from how to budget and plan ahead to how to keep safe and enjoy every facet of the experience. Hi, I'm Beatrice Schultz. Welcome to our weekly show, College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of a college education. Our show is all about bringing up-to-date and practical advice to parents who are dealing with the cost of a college education for their kids. College is expensive and getting more so each year. With some private schools costing over $60,000, a UC costing close to $35,000, and a California State University running $25,000 per year, parents need more help than ever. We bring you that help by sharing ways to pay less, tapping into financial aid, and prioritizing your source of funds to make sure you get through the most expensive years of your life. Based on my own education and experience, I share my insights with you week in and week out. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and a Master's degree in International Business. I'm a certified financial planner and the owner of the San Carlos-based college planning business, West Face College Planning. We host workshops on college planning and consult with parents on a daily basis. In addition to my insights, I bring in experts in many areas of the college process, from counselors, financial aid officers, college administrators, college professors, financial professionals, parents, and even students. You'll learn firsthand the ins and outs of how to pay for college and survive financially. In addition to our show, you can find lots of powerful information at our collegesmartradio.com and westfacecollegeplanning.com websites. We have many articles that I've authored with up-to-date information on navigating the waters of paying for the runaway costs of college. We have a monthly e-newsletter full of content about college planning. We also have posted a glossary of key terms used in the world of college planning. Terms like total cost of attendance, FAFSA, student assets, base year, and so forth. And we have a link to our free community parent workshops that we host to teach parents about how to pay for college and how the financial aid system really works. Let's get into today's show. International experiences, especially long-term experiences such as a semester or year abroad, provide lasting benefits that shape an individual's life both personally and professionally. Beyond the obvious reasons to study abroad, such as opportunities to see the world and experience other cultures, there are true benefits for those experiences, for both personal growth and professional growth. My guest on today's College Smart Radio show is Hannah Cutbirth. Hannah is 21 years old and just starting her senior year at Texas A&M in Texas. Hannah spent August through December 2012 in Florence, Italy. She's joining us today from Texas via phone to share her practical advice. Everything from how to budget and plan ahead for weekend trips to save money to why you shouldn't leave your top floor window open if you leave for a weekend. Hi, Hannah. Welcome to College Smart Radio.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us. Let's start a little bit of sharing a little bit about your background. How did you choose to go to Texas A&M?
Well, at first it was just, I grew up coming to games here because both of my parents went to A&M and a bunch of my family went here. And for a while I actually wanted to be a marine biologist, so I was looking at schools in Florida. But then I saw how much it costed to go out of state. And so I actually went to visit A&M, and they had, a bunch of the majors had tables, and you could go and talk to them. And so I ended up talking to the Recreation, Parks, and Tourism table, and they told me about it and how you learn about, things all over the world and all this stuff. And so I was like, oh, that sounds good to me.
So is that the major that you've chosen now?
Yes. So I'm actually a focus on tourism, but it's Recreation, Parks, and Tourism Sciences is the technical term.
I like it. Sounds very technical. So how do you, I guess when we're thinking about kind of the degree, your major, your minor, going to college, did you think from the very beginning that it would be kind of interesting to do a semester or a term abroad, or was that something you were introduced to once you got into the college?
It was more definitely introduced once I got into the college. It actually happened that the study abroad office was right next to my dorm freshman year, and I would remember walking by and being like, that sounds kind of cool, but I wouldn't really think about it. And then it's actually kind of funny. I did really bad on a test one time, and so I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I'm leaving the country. And I went, and that's when I first, started getting information and actually visiting them.
So had you ever traveled internationally before you did this term abroad on your own?
We went as a family vacation to Mexico when I was 8, maybe, and that's really it.
So that was a pretty big deal. Did you have to get a new passport before you chose to go to Florence, Italy?
Yeah, I did. I had to go get my passport done, and we had to go to the Italian consulate in Houston and to get my visa and all of that.
So how did you choose Florence once you decided? And how do you choose the timing? Is it always in your junior year that the term abroad or the semester abroad happens? Or how does that kind of work? What's the process?
Okay, well, for picking a year, it really doesn't matter. Actually, I would advise people to go either their freshman or their sophomore year because most of the classes abroad will count for kind of like your basics. And so actually, when I studied abroad, most of my classes didn't really count for anything specifically. Most of them came back as electives. But, I had come in with hours before college, so it kind of canceled out. So it was fine for me, but I would definitely say to go your freshman or your sophomore year just so that, your international electives and things can get knocked out abroad instead of taking classes at your home university.
Well, that's interesting advice. Would you say that most, or I guess that's interesting information, I should say, would you say that most kids that do terms abroad can manage it and still graduate in 4 years? What do you see at Texas A&M? Are most of your peers going to take more than 4 years to get their degree? What kind of, they say statistically most kids take 5 years to graduate. Is that what you see with most of your peers?
Yes, most of my friends are taking 5 years. I'm only taking 4 just because I definitely wanted to get out in 4 just because of my scholarships because they end after 4 years. So that was kind of my motivation there.
Well, that's a very good motivation, and we talk a lot about the costs of college, and I often encourage families to plan, even if you do a study abroad. Sometimes kids take courses in the summer. Have you taken any courses in any summer courses, or have you been able to get all the courses you need just through your normal year?
I took one summer class. I took speech because I hadn't realized that for a scholarship you had to have 15 hours each semester to keep the scholarship, and I had only had 14 in my spring semester, and so I had to take a summer class to put me over the 15, but that was it.
Well, good for you, though, so that's great. So that's a good way to force yourself to take all the courses. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about your study abroad. How did you choose Florence, Italy, or what were your options? What was the process to go through to kind of apply for the programs?
Okay, so I went to the study abroad office, and I just kind of knew nothing. I was just like, can you help me? And you can really pick literally all over the world. The choices are incredible. I had always wanted to go to Italy. I don't really know why. I had always loved the idea of a really simple life, lots of food, lots of wine, good wine, just nice people, and I just wanted to go far away, just to experience a new culture. And so, to me, Italy seemed like the right choice. I don't really know. I guess that's why. And
so did you just apply to Italy, and did you apply to different cities in Italy and different programs, or can you pretty much get what you want once you choose where you want to go?
You can pretty much get where you want. You can apply to more than one if you wanted to, but for me, once I've made a decision, I just have to stick to it because I'll start second guessing myself and maybe I should go here, here, here. So I just picked one and just stuck with it.
Well, good for you. So what prep So you chose to do this. So you did your, I guess it was kind of equivalent to the fall term of college for your junior year. So did you pick all the courses and know ahead of time what courses you were taking at the program, or does that all happen once you get there?
No, you pick ahead. So they give you this catalog once you pick what program, because you can pick different programs to go through that are kind of different prices and offer like little different things. But each of those separate programs takes you to all the different countries. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that well?
So I guess when you say different countries, you pick a program and it could be available at different colleges in different locations, or are you looking at the university in Florence, Italy, and then they're saying, hey, here are the 10 courses you could choose from?
Well, okay. So, for example, there's different, there's like CEA and there's API, and they're like different programs that you go through that are affiliated with the university.
Oh, I see, like an online program kind of thing,
yeah.
Oh, okay, sort of like an affiliation, like call it I think I know what you mean now.
Okay. Yeah, so they're affiliated with A&M, and then once you pick a program, then you see which countries they offer, which most of the programs offer tons of countries anyway. But I picked API, which is Academic Programs International. The reason I picked them was they had a reasonable price, and I liked that they included some trips that they were going to pay for, which, I mean, I guess technically we were paying for it with our tuition, but they included like some excursions, and they included some meals, and I mean, not very many, but like what they offered, I chose them for the price that they were charging.
Hey, Hannah, I'm going to take a break right now, but when we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit more about that, kind of how the equivalent or how much it costs versus the tuition at Texas A&M. You're with us on College Smart Radio, where my guest today is Hannah Cutbirth, a senior college student at Texas A&M. We'll be right back on College Smart Radio.
For more information on today's topic, visit collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. College Smart Radio continues in moments on AM 1220 KDOW. Contact Beatrice Schultz at collegesmartradio.com or call 650-587-1559. Now back to College Smart Radio with your host Beatrice Schultz on AM 1220 KDOW.
Welcome back to College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of college. I'm Beatrice Schultz. We all know that college is expensive and will most likely be some of the most costly years for a family. Understanding how to navigate the college costs and save everywhere you can is a smart thing to know. To help families be on this radio show, I host community workshops around the Bay Area several times a month that explain the costs of various colleges, how the financial aid system works, and things to consider to prepare yourself for this tremendous expense. You can find my workshop schedule at collegesmartradio.com. If you've just joined us, I'm talking with my guest Hannah Cutbirth about her study abroad experience. Hi, Hannah. We were just discussing a little bit before I cut you off about how you choose the courses, and then you mentioned the fact a little bit about the cost. So I thought for our audience, maybe how much more or how different, I guess the real question is, how much more did it cost you to do the term abroad versus being local at Texas A&M?
It costed probably around $7,000 extra, which is including your plane tickets. And they offer discounted plane tickets for you when you are a student. They give you the websites and everything to go to. And but also they also offer you extra scholarships when you're studying abroad. And so as long as you apply and you seem like a good student, they'll give you extra money.
Okay, great. Well, that's good to know. So let's talk a little bit about your trip. So you signed up, you knew you were going to go take courses, you got in an airplane. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, the few things you need to do prep before, and then the first things you needed to do when you got there.
Okay, to prep before, you have to make sure that your passport's up to date, and it has to be up to date 6 months after you return from your trip. So even if you think that your passport's okay, you have to make sure it's okay, like, for a couple years after also.
Okay.
Also, you have to go get your visa. So you have to bring all this paperwork with you. You have to contact the Italian consulate in Italy. The American consulate in Italy, and then you go to the Italian consulate in America, and you give them your paperwork, your passport, your birth certificate, a bunch of documents. They give you your visa. You have to get your plane ticket. You have to pack, which you should only take one suitcase, which is hard to do. But just really be frugal with what you're packing. I think that's pretty much the prep.
All right. So you get on your airplane, you land. Was someone there to greet you, or were you pretty much on your own?
Well, okay, I had never actually flown by myself, so it was kind of a big deal, kind of freaking out. But it was fine. Everything went fine. There was no delays. And then, so when we get there, the program, the API program that I chose, they had some people there to pick us up.
And when you arrived on that airplane, were there already other people at the airport that were part of the same program, or were you just on your own?
There were a few, but I didn't know who they were. So.
Oh, okay. So did they find you a place to live, or did you have to find your own place to live?
They found us a place to live. So they found our apartments for us. They put roommates with us. I didn't know anyone when I went, and I would actually probably recommend that, because then I feel like you really dive into your experience if you don't have friends that you can, cling to, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a big jump, though. First airplane, show up, new roommates, new country. They're talking a different language. Did you speak Italian?
No, I didn't. I didn't speak any Italian. So that was definitely a learning experience. And actually, one of my roommates, her family was from Italy, and we ended up visiting them. They lived kind of near Sicily, but on the mainland. And that was the first time that I had real conversations in Italian. And because we had been learning it at school, like in class, you have to take Italian. And it was like the greatest feeling to be able to just have a conversation in a different language that you hadn't known like 2 months ago. It was just incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. So, okay, so how about logistics, about, kind of trying to figure out what your expenses are going to be and getting yourself set up? What were some of the things that you ran into that maybe you weren't expecting, or that were a little more of a hassle or more money than you thought?
Okay, so when you first get there, you kind of need to start planning your trips that you're going to take, because obviously you're in Europe for 4 months. You need to go and take some trips. I would first recommend to really get to know your own country. A lot of people go and so say they study abroad in Italy, and they never visit anywhere else in Italy. They only go outside of it. And so I would really recommend staying in your country at least for some of your trips. And it's also such a good idea to plan ahead. So we got there in end of August. Beginning of September, we got together, like me and my roommates, and we planned trips. So we planned trips for December in September because the plane tickets were so cheap. We went to Paris in December for €20, which is, I don't know, like $25. That was our plane ticket. Oh. And so, so the sooner you book these things, the cheaper that they are. And it's also good to look at trains versus airplanes, because sometimes one or the other will be cheaper. Just to look online and to book early, I would definitely recommend.
Great advice. And €20 for an airplane ticket, you wouldn't be able to fly from Texas to California for that. That's for sure.
Right. And also, if you're going to do shopping, you need to ask whoever, find a local, or if you have a program, ask them. There are these markets that are usually about once a week somewhere near where you're going to be staying. And everything is so cheap. So cheap. I got shirts for 50 cents and things like that.
That is amazing, because I think anyone who's listening to the show and has thought about being a tourist in Italy, they kind of envision walking down the main drag of the expensive shops and spending more money than they would at home. So that's just such a fun find.
Right.
So as far as managing your kind of living there, were you cooking at home? Were you going to restaurants? Or how did that work for you?
Okay, we would sometimes go to restaurants, and I actually recommend picking at least one place to go, maybe at least once a week, because they'll really get to know you. I went to this one pizza shop. It's called Gusta Pizza, and I went there at least once a week, and they they like loved me by the end. They would make me heart-shaped pizzas, and they always told me I was pretty. He was just so nice, the guy who owned it, and they really got to know me, and that was really something I enjoyed. But also I would say don't eat out all the time, because some of my friends did that, and by the end of the trip they were out of money, and they had to say no to some awesome trips that we took, that the people that saved a little bit. I would definitely recommend going to the grocery store, and I would recommend going to the markets, which are it's like a huge building, and inside it'll just be like meat shops and like cheese, like the big cheese wheels, and they'll cut you whatever you want. And then they have fresh vegetables, and you actually save money, and it's fresh food, and they also get to know you. Like, I would go up to my butcher man, who was a gorgeous man. He would his name was Manuel, and he would know what I wanted, like, before I even got there. Like, he had it ready for me. So that was really neat too. So I would definitely recommend don't eat out as much as you think that you would, just to save money and to get fresher food.
And what a great experience. I think you're showing just these wonderful experiences of sometimes when you're traveling without your family, then these strangers become your family, or the ones that you're familiar with. And that's had to have been an awesome personal experience for you. That's so cool.
Yes, definitely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the classes. Was it, hard, easy, interesting? I mean, how much of your focus was on actually taking the college courses, which I'm sure when you're actually at Texas A&M, you think about that a lot of the time.
Right. I would say that the classes abroad are a little bit easier, just because they know that you're going to be traveling most weekends. So it's not like you don't have tests. All you have is a midterm, and then you have a final. So that's all how it is in all the classes. And for some of the classes, the midterm's only a paper. And so that's really all that it is. My classes were awesome. I mean, I took pairing food and wine. I took jewelry making. I took history of the mafia. I just picked really interesting classes to me, and it made going to class even better. But they don't let you skip more than 2 classes or you fail, just because people will skip while you're abroad. Sure,
because people aren't going to take it as seriously. And
right.
So tell me a little bit about the overall experience. I mean, if people are listening in and thinking, God, that sounds cool. I mean, kind of maybe your expectations going in, or how you think other kids might be feeling a little bit nervous, and then all the, kind of maybe a little bit, I'll give you kind of 30 seconds to give me this is the most awesome part about it.
Okay. I would say I was so nervous when I first got there. I wanted to leave and go back home to America. But I would definitely say that it just, being and living in another culture opens your eyes to so much more than you even knew existed. I would just say it just really opens your mind. I know this sounds cheesy, but really being cultured, I feel like really helps me be who I am today. And this is so cheesy, but I feel like I almost kind of found myself a little bit more in Italy, just because of their slow culture and just having time to reflect on me and just all the beautiful things you see and all the beautiful people that you meet. They definitely make it for you.
Hannah, thank you so much for being with us on College Smart Radio. There's no one who's listening today who's not saying, oh my gosh, that's such a cool experience. I would like to do it. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up another weekly show of College Smart Radio. We hope you picked up some new information today that helps you figure out ways to manage the runaway costs of college. You can hear us each week here on KDOW 1220 AM, Saturdays at 3 p.m. We promise to bring you up-to-date information from the front lines of helping parents deal with the most expensive years of their lives. For a link to a podcast of the show and our prior weekly shows, go to our website, collegesmartradio.com. In addition to the podcast, you'll also find a schedule of our upcoming shows. Make sure you print out or bring up on your tablet our glossary of college planning terms for reference during our future shows. It's a complicated topic to navigate, and without knowing the terms, it's easy to get lost. Also plan on joining us at one of our upcoming Westface College planning workshops and webinars. This is Beatrice Schultz. Thanks for tuning into College Smart Radio. We look forward to sharing more helpful information with you next week.
You've been listening to College Smart Radio. with certified financial planner Beatrice Schultz. If you have questions on today's topic, log on to collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. That's 650-587-1559. And join us next week at this time for another edition of College Smart Radio on AM 1220 KDOW.